have a medial plantar artery on the bottom of the foot, from the big toe, vein. Medial plantar vein, carrying blood from the bottom of the foot, from the big toe towards the heel, coming from the little toe towards the heel. We would have the lateral plantar vein. And those two veins would join together to form what vein? The back of the leg, posterior tibial vein. Okay, nothing new, but that we're going back towards the heart. From what do we call the artery on the top of the foot? Dorsalis pedis artery. All right, so the vein carrying blood from the top of the foot is going to be the dorsalis pedis vein, which then will become the anterior tibial vein. And the two veins will join together to form the vein at the back of your knee, which is the popliteal vein. What other vein will drain into the posterior tibial vein from the lateral compartment? Pardon? Fibular. So that's going to come from the left ankle and drain into the posterior tibial vein. I have a short femoral vein here. Right? Then it's going to pass into the adductor magnus muscle and through the anterior aspect as the femoral vein. It's going to cross under the inguinal ligament and become the external iliac vein. So nothing new there from what we covered on Tuesday, which was the arterial system. But now we need to add the two superficial veins. All right? The largest vein in the body starts on the medial aspect of your foot, wraps around the medial malleolus, and it travels the length of your leg all the way up almost to the inguinal ligament to empty into the femoral vein. I'm going to draw this in purple again. And this is known as the great saphenous or saphenous. I pronounce saphenous. And it is a medial vessel. My father-in-law had 2 coronary bypasses. He had about an 18 and 20-inch scar, the length of both of his lower extremities, just on the medial aspect of his lower extremity to strip out the great saphenous vein. The small saphenous vein is often mistakenly thought, because of the way it's drawn, to be a lateral vessel. It's not. It's right in the midline of your calf. When you're dissecting cadavers, it's right down the middle of the back of the calf. I can't draw it that way because it would be right along the same line as my posterior tibial, even though it's superficial. It's just below the skin. So I wasn't born, I wasn't alive during World War II, but I read a lot of history. And nylons were actual silk stockings during the war. They were sewn together rather than woven as a single sock, if you will. So there was a seam. And if you were to be dressed properly, you couldn't have crooked seams. So that seam had to run right up the midline of your calf. Well, with the onset of the war, the silk was no longer available to make stockings. It was used to make parachute fabric. And so women couldn't wear their stockings. So to look like they were wearing stockings, they would take pens and draw a line as straight as possible up the midline of their calf. So if you were to draw a line up the midline of your calf and open up the skin there about 1/4 to 3/4 of an inch, you would find the small saphenous vein there. I have to draw it lateral for you to be able to see it. All right, so it starts on the lateral ankle and then becomes midline, and it drains into the popliteal vein. So it doesn't go nearly as high as the great saphenous does. So the small saphenous, the popliteal vein, is going to receive 3 vessels. It's formed by the union of the anterior and posterior tibial veins, but it receives the small saphenous. Similar to what we talked about with the superior vena cava, it's formed by the union of the brachiocephalic veins, but it receives the azygous vein. So if I were to say trace a drop of blood from the top of the foot on the big toe side back to the heart, you would have 2 choices. You could take dorsalis pedis vein to anterior tibial vein, to popliteal vein, to femoral vein, to external iliac vein. Or you could take, no, the top of the foot. So you could take the great saphenous straight to femoral vein and bypass all of those others.
I'll
So
take
if I
that
give you a
option.
whole bunch of blanks, you're going to have to take the deeper route. If I give you just one blank between the top of the foot and femoral vein, that's your great saphenous. Well, I think I have 8. They're worth half a point each, 7 or 8 points, so there's like 14, 15 blanks. Remember, you have a choice between 2 different tracing patterns. All right, so that's the end of our pathways, and I know you're exhausted. I want to show you fetal circulation